The producers say he doesn't even know he's on television.
本当にテレビの神様がいるとしたら、これ悪魔じゃないですか。
In January of 1998, a man walked into a small apartment in Tokyo with nothing.
どうです？社長気分っつうのかね。トイレットペーパーが当たりました。っていうことなんですか？これは。
And he left over a year later as one of the most watched people in Japanese television history without even knowing it. In one of the most psychologically disturbing things ever aired, for 15 months, Tamako Hamatsu faced starvation, was isolated from the rest of the world with no human contact, no clothes, no bed, no heat, no toilet paper. The mental deterioration of a person recorded on camera and aired live for millions of people to watch every day. The real-life Truman Show of a man stuck in a created world while others monitor his movement. And some say he actually had it a lot worse than Truman did, that the whole thing was just straight up torture. This is the story of the contestant. Also, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Every week, more than 30 million people tune in to watch some young hopeful endure intense hardship.
Hamatsu's journey begins in 1998 when popular Japanese game show Sunsunu Denpa Shonen announced they were holding a raffle in order to select who would be the next contestant of their upcoming show. Even before this, the show had already become quite controversial in some places, and Japan as a whole was just known for their crazy game competitions. The network had already hosted multiple challenges, like when a comedian named Ito and a Hong Kong radio DJ attempted to hitchhike from South Africa's Cape of Good Hope to Norway's North Cape, and the distance between them is 12,000 miles, one of the longest possible overland journeys on Earth, and they were still given no money or food and had to accomplish this. They went through starvation, dehydration, Sahara Desert hazards, and at one point Ito collapsed and had to be airlifted to a hospital. But despite this, when Hamatsu, a 22-year-old aspiring comedian, was selected as the winner of the raffle, he couldn't have been more excited. This was the next step to take in order to better his career. Hamatsu was now the main star of the new show Life in Prizes. Shortly after, he was taken to a small apartment in which he was then told to take off all his clothes, as the goal of the show was to see if a person could survive in this little place only off the winnings of magazine sweepstakes.
Denpa Shonen was totally different to anything they'd done before.
Centers on a man trying to win his way out of a tiny apartment. He has no food, no clothes.
Surviving just on the prizes from magazine sweepstakes.
The only thing he received was water, and the rest, including food, clothes, literally everything, all had to be won through the sweepstakes and given to him, as he was not allowed to communicate with anyone from the outside world. His nickname was Nasubi.
Nasubi?
I think it's a rather bizarre and grotesque program.
Nasubi in Japanese means eggplant, which is the emoji they use in order to cover his genitals every episode. Nasubi would need to win 1 million yen through only the mail-in sweepstakes to win the challenge and be able to leave the apartment. 1 million yen back then would roughly translate to about 8,000 to 9,000 US dollars. And I mean, it sounds not just difficult, but like damn near impossible. $8,000 just off sweepstakes with no food, no clothes, not even a bed to sleep on? But eventually, Nasubi did it, and he completed the money goal after 335 days, almost a year of not talking to anybody and having to eat whatever scraps he won. However, as you may have heard earlier, this whole thing was not just 335 days, it was 15 months, and throughout the whole thing, Nasubi had no idea that he was live in front of millions of people. You see, he was under the impression the whole time that these clips were just being recorded and then they were going to be edited later on for the episode, which was true for a little bit until they decided, hey, why not just live stream this? You can imagine how Nasubi felt. Just put yourself in his shoes for a second. Having to win any type of entertainment or something to eat all through mail-in sweepstakes while not talking to anybody, not leaving his apartment. It literally sounds like jail, except it's solitary confinement confinement, the worst type where you don't speak to nobody. It is barely human, and honestly, I'm surprised that this was even allowed to go on for as long as it did. And the majority of Nasubi's time was occupied by applying for sweepstakes competitions, and the entire time he was in here, he stayed completely naked for the whole show. For the first few days, Nasubi was completely focused on food as he had not eaten for a few days. But finally, one evening, he got a knock at the door and received his first big win.
はい。
誰かが来た。
はい。あ、
宅急便。
やった来た第1号
気分フードケミファさんのファイバーゼリー12個入りでございます。
いただきます。
12 pots of fiber jelly, something for Nasubi to eat. What is fiber jelly? I don't know, must be some Japanese thing, but nevertheless, Nasubi would then win 5 kilograms of rice.
でんでねー
米だ。
ナスビ米お米5キロです。
Early on, we see what this man is having to go through. Millions of people watch as this man struggles day to day, and you can see just how much he lights up when he realizes that the rice was actually now cooked. Nasubi would wait every day for knocks at the door because they meant that he had just won something. However, sometimes it would just be something random, like a postman telling him to put his nameplate outside, or a guy with ramen. Something Nasubi would love to eat right now, but no, the ramen guy actually had just gone to the wrong address. Out of all the apartments he could have gone to, he went to the one that was legitimately starving.
はい。
当然か。
まずラーメン。全部で1700円になります。すいません、間違えました。
Then, after 2 months, he would finally receive his first piece of clothing that ended up being some used panties that did not fit him at all. Something I found interesting is that when Nasubi finally wins his first piece of meat, though he's been swinging meat the whole series, the narrator says steak is something a poor comedian only says in his imagination. Basically saying how someone like him would not be able to afford this luxury, and yet here he is being put on a show in which he thought would help him in his career, but it's just a legalized way of basically torturing somebody.
ナスビにとって最高級の食べ物ステーキを今まさに食べようとする。
One day he would win a plushy seal toy named Binasu, who would become his best friend and his only source of companionship, as well as winning a TV and a game console system in the following month, which I guess would technically make him the first ever live streamer to play games, if he was actually able to play it, because the controller and game that he won, it didn't come with an actual PlayStation.
3ヶ月ぶりの掃除スタート。
テレビですテレビ。まあ1は映んねえのか。アップするよこれで。
そのものとは。
歯ブラシと歯磨きのセットです。
However, Nasubi's rice would eventually come to an end, and he was then forced to eat dog food, which became his main source of food. Truly sad, honestly disgusting. It became so bad that after months, he legitimately started crying when he won a new bag of rice.
神よ、我に生きる力を与えきり。米です。じゃんじゃんじゃん。米はだって。
6 months into the show, Nasubi had finally reached the halfway mark, collecting $500,000 of yen worth of items, if that makes sense. However, the single worst / most messed up thing that might have happened throughout the whole show was about to take place. You see, with this show obviously making a big name just due to its bizarre programming, some of the media had found out where Nasubi's apartment room was located. So after 6 months, the producers went in there, and at first Nasubi thought he had completed the challenge, or that he was being taken somewhere special, but in reality he was just being transported to a different room to continue the challenge and his suffering.
この時ナスビは思った。
終わりですか。100万いったんですか。いってない。意味がわからないんですけど全然。うわ車やった動いてる動いてる。これはまあ全部揃ってるというか引っ越しっていうことなんですか。
After being basically kidnapped, the producers then tell him after they arrived at the new room that the reason they switched places was for renewed luck. But in actuality, they were not telling the truth at all.
しかしこの企画が放送されていることを知らないナスビにプロデューサーは
なんか演技担ぎじゃあ私のためってことですねこれは。
身に余る光栄です。
And I would say shortly after he moves in here, over half a year into the challenge, is when he starts becoming more deranged or just struggling to think straight. This would also be the point in time where the producers thought it would be a good idea to live stream nasubi 24/7. Following him around with a joystick to keep his eggplant censored, yeah, it was like 240p, 6 frames a second at best. You would think at this point it would just be better to just give him a pair of clothes or something, but there's been a lot of theories that the producers actually did not let him win any type of clothing, as they would intercept the packages before he got to them, due to the fact that they wanted to keep the theme going and keep him naked because it's really fun. Honestly, I believe it. I mean, what are the chances Nasubi enters in tens of thousands of sweepstakes and the only clothing he wears is a pair of used panties? But after hitting a really bad string of luck and not having any more food to eat, the producers once again moved him to a different location for better luck and ended up working.
ビデオデッキを頭にぶつけ当選の舞。
ほんと10ヶ月ぶりにね。
Including the thing that would help Nasubi more than anything, and the thing that would make him the first live streamer to ever play games. One day Nasubi would win a PlayStation 1.
それは8ヶ月前のこと。
電車でゴーコントローラー好き。
6ヶ月前。
おー、来たよ。とりあえずまず電車で Go.
An expensive item and something that would help Nasubi with boredom. However, after a few days straight of playing this game, he decided to ban himself from playing because he needed to focus on entering more sweepstakes so that he could actually escape this place one day. But after 11 months of non-stop entering sweepstakes every day, Nasubi did it. He had achieved 1,000,000 yen worth of items and he didn't even know it.
Oh. ゴールを祝いクラッカーで祝福。
100万になったってことですか？ちょっと待って。あー、やった。11ヶ月と1日前に抜かされた。私の服ですね。
After this, Nasubi was taken to Korea, where he was told it was a celebration. He ate amazing food, went on rides, interacted with people, until things just kept getting more and more disturbing, as he was then taken to another room.
そこは
脱いで。人は韓国の憲章だけで生きていけるか。
ナスビ大ショック。
The pain Nasubi felt as he is being told this. The show was too popular, too profitable to be stopped now. 17 million viewers, millions of dollars being made. Now in Korea, he would have to do the same thing over again, except this time, he would have to enter in Korean sweepstakes, in which he did not know the language. So instead, he had to use a dictionary to translate everything, and the goal here was to get enough yen to afford a plane ticket from Korea to Japan.
こんなにいっぱいということは商品総額が 47,800 円ということはゴール 46,900 円突破検証生活 in Korea.
Due to his experience in sweepstakes, Nasubi reached his goal of a one-way plane ticket in just 2 months. However, yet again, the producer said, nope, you actually have to get a plane ticket in business class. Not even telling Nasubi that he had even reached the goal at all, just keeping his suffering going while raking in all the dough.
エコノミークラスという一番安い料金。こんなに頑張ったのにエコノミークラスとはあんまりだ。そこでビジネスクラスにランクアップ。点まであと 9,500 円。頑張れナスビ。
Then Nasubi ended up quickly winning some rare items, completing the goal, but then no, yet again he has to rank up.
宣言ということは商品総額は61,800円ということファーストクラスにランクアップということはゴールの金額もランクアップ
He quickly surpasses that goal as well though and finally completes the challenge, getting his first plane ticket back to Japan.
そしてプロデューサーに連れられたナスビ登場もちろんアイマスクにヘッドホンナスビは驚くべき行動に出る別にまだかかるなんと脱ぎ始めた
After 15 months of physical and psychological torture, Nasubi is thrown one more joke by being in front of a live audience absolutely naked. Life and prizes was complete, but unfortunately Nasubi still suffered after this, developing a lack of social skills among other problems. And the producer himself even stated after it was all done that he regrets nothing. So did Nasubi achieve international stardom like he had hoped? Well, kind of, because yes, at the time, because of the show, he was a big star, and he ended up getting some acting roles, some comedian roles, things like that. But at the end of the day, for all that he had went through and what he received afterwards, it wasn't really worth it. I mean, when you think about it, this man just lost over a year of his life. Time he will never get back. But then again, he will also live in history for being the first Fortnite player ever. But guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and have a great day.